So as you guys saw by the title, we have a shit ton of work to get done in 2 months. I had to move out of my apartment and I had to move back in with my parents, and I have a lot of goals set for myself within the next couple of months. Today, as of making this video, it is January 31st, 2026. By March 31st, 2026, I plan to do the following. I plan to get monetized on YouTube. I feel like saying I plan is the wrong word to use, but it is goals that I am expecting to achieve. I'm extremely close to monetization on YouTube. You watching this video will help me with that as well, so thank you for being here. But my plan is to get monetized on YouTube. My plan is to get my own apartment, and my plan is to get my driver's license. For those of you that don't know, I'm not from America. I was born in Ukraine, and I've had a lot of complications with the DMV giving me my driver's license or even an ID. With these challenges, it has been extremely hard to get a better job, etc. But I do have a job at the moment that I got hired at, so I definitely need to capitalize on that. I need to work more. I work almost 40 hours a week, but we can bump that number right up to 40 to maximize my potential. My job won't let me work anymore. I would work 50 hours a week if I could, but there's a sweet spot and they don't let me pass it. I want to provide from them like I never did. I want to be the change in my life that I needed. I have a lot to focus on. I've been a bum for a very long time now, and I started doing YouTube, I started working, I started doing things here and there to grow, grow my persona, grow myself as a person per se. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm still a bum, and there's a lot of things I need to change to get out of that, at least get out of that mentality. I want you guys to see that I'm a new person. I'm not the same person I was. I'm done being immature. I'm done, throwing things under the bus, throwing my life under the bus, throwing my life out the window, however you want to look at it. And I was the same person for the longest time. I smoked weed almost the entirety of my relationship. I've smoked weed, I had a daughter, and even then I didn't quit weed. And that's when I should have quit weed a long time ago, but now that I'm getting sober-minded, I'm trying to capitalize on my success. Quitting weed was just step one to a better life, and I have to take more steps to grow. I quit weed and then just stopped trying, stopped growing as a person, and it's time to take the next steps, and it's time to, keep walking. Object in motion stays in motion. The moments in my life where I felt the most proud of myself was when I was consistent with my schedule, was when I worked out every day, and when I, actually thought about my next steps in life, which is why I want to get back into that. As you guys can see, I don't live in the best environment at the moment, and this is by choice. I have a room upstairs that I can live in, but I'm trying to make it as negative as possible for myself, for the aspect of growth and for the aspect of motivation. Consistency matters more than anything, and it's time to consistently change my life. It's time to grow as a person. It's time to grow in every single way, shape, and form that I can. And I want to be the best at literally everything. But before I pursue my career, before I pursue YouTube, before I pursue all of this, I have to settle what's right, and that is making my family's life a lot better. As I've already mentioned, I have a daughter. I'm 20 years old, I'm extremely young, and I had a kid when I was even younger. And now that she's 1 year old, I have a lot to provide for her. I have a lot more challenges for myself, and I like it. I want to be a provider. I don't want my girlfriend to have to work a 9 to 5. I don't want my family to work. I want to be the provider for the whole entire family tree. It's a lot of responsibility to take upon myself, but I think that I have to have unachievable goals, or goals that seem unachievable, because if I don't achieve them, then nothing changes, and if I achieve them, then wow, So here is our actual goals for these next 2 months. I will stitch this video in 2 months to tell you guys which goals I achieved, which goals I didn't achieve, and etc. The number one goal on my list is to get an apartment. The reason I want to get an apartment is pretty simple, and I think most of you guys will understand. I am tired of going back to my parents' house every single time that life gets tough. I'm tired of going back to my parents' house every single time something doesn't go right, And part of that is I have to be more responsible, but we'll get into that in a sec. Firstly, my biggest goal, my number one goal, is to get an apartment for me and my family. My second goal, and this one is not too important to you guys, but I want to stay quitting weed. I want to focus on growth, and part of being focused on growth is not letting drugs distract me from that, People say you can do life with weed, you can smoke weed and be fine. I agree with that, but not every person, and honestly mostly nobody, and I'm one of the people that's in the majority. The problem for me with weed and drugs in general is I have a very addictive personality, and if I do it once, I want to do it again and again and again, so I have to stay away from it as far away as I can. My third goal on the list is going to be to help my girlfriend get a car. This is not just for her, this is also for me. Considering the fact that I don't have my license, I'm not able to drive a car, so she's going to be my chauffeur, and it helps a lot with anything we need, and it helps with extra income because you could do DoorDash and Uber Eats, so it helps a ton. So one of my main goals is to get a car. Another goal that I have, and this one does lead into weed a little bit, but it is way more important to me, is I want to cut out distractions. I think I have ADHD of some sort, and that's not to say anything negative about it. I think it should only motivate me, and I also do think that if you have ADHD, ADHD, you can multitask, so it's kind of an ability. It's a super ability per se. Another goal I have is to grow my physique. I understand it's not a huge goal for some of you, but to me it matters a lot. I want to be extremely jacked. I want to be big, you know, and part of that is going to have to be me working out. For the last couple of months, aside from doing my push-ups, and I have not been doing that many daily, I've given up, you know. It's been extremely difficult to work out with all the stress I've been induced with, and I think me moving back into my parents' house is going to get some of that stress off of me, mainly, you know, the rent part. So I want to see what kind of a physique I can build in these next 2 months. Another expense that has been completely cut out of my system is food. My parents get a lot of it, and yeah, I'll be able to start drinking protein powder, so things like that, things to put on some weight per se, because I've been skinny this entire YouTube journey, and I have gained about 5 pounds of muscle, which is crazy. It's a lot more than I ever wanted, you know, a lot more than I ever expected per se, because I want a lot more than that. But it's still not enough, you know. I'm still hungry for more, and I think part of that's gonna have to be amping up my diet and actually getting consistent with not just YouTube but everything else in my life. I want you guys to understand that these may not be some difficult goals for you guys, but 2 months is not a long time, and it's a lot of goals to set for myself. I really want to become the Christian that I once was, and in fact I want to grow from that. I don't ever think I was a Christian that I would be proud to be, you know. So I really do want to become the Christian that God intends me to be, the lifestyle that God wants for me. And I think that, once again, that will help me with everything else that I have in plan. I want greatness. I want the Smolyar last name to be famous. I understand none of you guys have even heard that last name before, and, you know, that's probably because no one in my family aspires for something like I do. And I want to be known. I want to be heard. I want to make money. And all of that's going to come down to you guys at the end of the day. I want to make content for you that makes you guys happy, because if you're not happy, I won't be happy, and it will reflect it, you know. So yeah, I mean, I make no money from YouTube, and monetization is one of my biggest goals for that reason. Is it's going to push me forward to make a lot more videos now that you know, even if I start making a tiny bit of money. This is a new beginning, guys. This is something great. I genuinely think that this is going to be good for me. Keeping myself in an environment like this can seem, you know, unhealthy for your mind, but the way I look at it is depression only works if you have time. I'm busy with thoughts all the time, but you shouldn't be busy with thoughts. You should be busy with deeds and tasks for yourself, and I want to grow on that. You know, I want to be one of the greatest people in my family, if not the greatest person in my family, and a lot of it's going to come down to my effort, how much work I'm willing to put in. And I'm throwing my balls on the table right now and telling you guys that yes, I want to put in the most work out of anyone, and I'm willing to do that. Another goal I have within the next 2 months is to get a better job. Getting a better job is a big deal to me. I've struggled to have a decent job for a very long time, so this is going to help me grow a lot, and financially and, you know, spiritually speaking, and just in general, I'll be able to grow a lot at a new work environment that's not so induced with drugs and alcohol, because a lot of my coworkers drink, a lot of my coworkers smoke, and it's not to throw shade at them, it's just not the environment that I want to be in much longer, you know. I have a lot of growth to do, and part of that's going to have to be choosing a better environment to be in, including at work, where, you know, people shouldn't be doing that anyway. My last and final goal with this video is going to be to just be proud of myself. I've had a long life of nothing but, you know, regrets. I've had a long life of bad decisions, and I really just want to be proud of myself. I want to be proud of what I build, what I achieve in the next 2 months, and I'm going to have to put in a lot of work for that to happen. I'm very, you know, I'm very negative. I would say I'm a pessimist, I think is the right word to use. I put in a ton of work into my life, and I don't see any results. And I think part of that is because I don't put in work in the right places, if that makes sense. For example, I struggle with school. I struggle with, you know, a job. I don't struggle with YouTube, but YouTube doesn't pay me, so it's kind of useless. It's a useless skill to have until it pays you money. You know, you're only crazy till you make it, then you're a genius. The problem is I haven't made any money. I haven't made money from YouTube, and part of that comes into the fact that I haven't made full, long videos for you guys. I'm only recently starting doing that, and yeah, I mean, I'm gaining speed, I'm gaining subscribers, I'm gaining views, watch hours, everything that matters. However, there's one issue. The problem that I'm talking about is finances. I've had a lot of bills in the last year. I've had to pay a lot of money for my rent. I've had to pay a lot of money for things of that nature, and I need to focus on that. YouTube not paying me money isn't the end of the world, because I really do enjoy sitting in front of a camera expressing how I feel, and I keep this like a diary almost. We're gonna call my channel Anne Frank pretty soon, but understand these goals are extremely important to me. I want you guys to keep me accountable, and as I've already said, in about 2 months I'll be making an update video to see which goals I achieved and which goals I didn't achieve. I did also want to throw out the fact that I might cut down a little bit on my YouTube video making. I make a video almost every single day, and part of it is because I want to grow a lot, but also part of it has to be the fact that I have to give up, you know, I have to sacrifice some things for others. With the amount of money that I want to make in the next couple of months, with the amount of goals that I want to achieve, and part of it being monetization on YouTube, I still have to post a ton of videos. I still have to try in every measurement of my life, but I want to split it. I want to be equal. I don't want to do YouTube work and that's it, because I have more time. And I want to use that time to make more money. I want to use that time to make greater connections. And most importantly, I want to use that time to spend it with my family. My baby mama and my baby live about 30 minutes away. And even though I'm going to have my baby here sometimes, it's still not going to be what it's not going to be the goals in my life. I have a lot of goals, and part of them is to put my family back in the same living home. Most of my goals I think I will achieve with YouTube monetization, though that's the only one I'm like really skeptical of, but I have to set this goal for myself. I think it's extremely possible, and I want you guys to help me achieve it. If you're new here, go ahead and like, go ahead and subscribe, and yeah, have a great rest of your guys' nights. Peace.